Hey, what's up? My name is Nate, and welcome to another mini Bible lesson. For lesson 22, we're continuing in the book of Leviticus. And if you haven't seen the previous lesson, I suggest that you pause here and go check out lesson 21 so you can better understand what we're talking about. In our previous lesson, we primarily looked at how God instructed his people on how to make sacrifices. Each of the 5 types of sacrifices had its own meaning and significance. As Christians, we no longer make animal sacrifices. This portion of God's law does not apply to Christians since it's been fulfilled in Christ. Jesus has made the ultimate sacrifice for us in our place one time for all. And though we don't make animal sacrifices, our need for sacrifices remain. Now let's look at the role of the priest. Priests were intermediaries between God and his people. At different times and in different ways, they stood in the gap that separated God from mankind. The Levitical priesthood was never meant to be permanent. The same way that the sacrificial system was fulfilled by Christ's death on the cross, he fulfills the priestly system found in the Old Testament. And the New Testament reveals Christ to be our great high priest. We see in Hebrews 6 that by his death and resurrection, those with faith have access to God's presence. Christ is greater than any other high priest that came before him because Christ's priesthood is not meant to be temporary. Instead, it's eternal. Let's now look at ritual purity. Purity was necessary as people lived around God's tabernacle because God's presence rejected the ritually impure. Purification rituals were God's provision for the people to be able to approach his presence. This section of Leviticus covers topics like which foods are clean or unclean, or how should you care for skin diseases, or what happens when you find mold in your linen clothing. God's instructions are specific so his people can be ritually pure and approach him. And you might be thinking, if this doesn't apply to Christians, why does it matter? It's because our need for purification remains, and it's the blood of our great high priest and our ultimate sacrifice which purifies us and cleanses us to approach God. In the next lesson, we'll be finishing off the book of Leviticus. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thanks for watching.